The real reason you are not loving yourself enough is not what you think. All your life, you've tried to remedy and work with those beliefs that keep coming up saying, I'm wrong, I'm bad, I'm just not wanted, I'm not good enough, and so on. And you always thought that the fault lies in you, that you have to do something to change that. You've got to work harder at it, do more self-improvement, more mindset work, and so on, and maybe go into the emotion and feel it and all that. Yes, all of that is valuable, but you took on all the burden of that heavy, unpleasant, painful emotion. And the real reason why you're feeling like that is actually not in you, or there's not something wrong with you, but the real reason is that you have taken what you experienced on the outside as real, as right, as that's the way I should be. So you heard your parents say certain things to you, and that might have been judgmental or criticizing, or they tried to encourage you to be different. They didn't accept you as you were. They couldn't understand the way you were reacting. I, for instance, was always too emotional, and I got called a crybaby. So we took on what we heard on the outside world and made it something that is how it is. We have to go by that, and then we will be loved, and then we will be wanted, and then we will be good enough or accepted or understood. And that didn't really work out, did it? So the outside world became more and important. We made it like into a mirror that told us the truth about us. We used it as a guidance system to tell us if we are performing and doing well in this world. We are all conditioned to think that we need to get our love and our approval from the outside world. It kind of comes with being a human here on earth, but really it only tells us what other people are thinking. It tells us about their conditioning that they are, of course, then passing on to us. And our parents were a bit like gods, and whatever they were doing and showing us and telling us was the truth. We took it like gospel. Again, this is what we all do, because as children, we don't have the capacity to think for ourselves, logically and consciously. So when our parents had a problem with us, they didn't like the way we were maybe expressing our point of views. They didn't like that we were so sensitive, or that we were loud and bubbly and very energetic. And they told us to stop doing that, or they said, this is not how you're doing this thing, this is how you do it, let me show you. And, you know, we took it on like there's something wrong with us, and or we are bad, or we are not good enough for them, you know, because we are sensitive and they don't like it. So we have believed in their point of view, basically. We were not able to see that it was their point of view as children. And now we are still carrying their beliefs or their opinions or their judgment of us, and we always thought that we had to do something in ourselves to clear it or heal it and change our mindset, and, you know, maybe think better about ourselves. Don't be the perfectionist. Just accept ourselves the way we are and love ourselves the way we are. And yes, we do have to do that, but to really change this dilemma, this conditioning that we all have to go through, there is another step that we need to do. If this is helpful and you would like to have more empowering tips on how to love yourself, please like and subscribe my channel now, in order to help yourself to actually become more empowered and love yourself more. So because we were not having the reassurance and the evidence that we are absolutely loved the way we are, and instead we got criticism and judgment and disapproval from our parents, we took on what they said. So there's another reason why we also might feel not loved or unlovable, which is what I experienced, is that my parents were actually not able to give love. They were not able to say, I love you, or they were not able to feel the love in such a way that was unconditional. Yes, they did at times. Of course, they felt love in their hearts, but they didn't give it to me, kind of thing. They weren't able to express it. They were very often coming from their ego minds, and they were showing me the way they were conditioned. And it took me a long time to work out that that was the case, because they were living from their ego mind, which isn't really love. When you're coming from a conditioned mind, that isn't love. And I felt it was so painful to receive conditional love. So that was why I actually always felt unloved. And, this could be the case for you as well. So look into that, what your parents were actually giving you, because they were conditioned like that themselves. This is a huge clue to uncover your belief or your perception that you are not loved. So it was the unfortunate situation that you were in that was bad and wrong, not good enough and unwanted. It was never you. This is the most important insight to get. And then you have the next 3 steps to actually heal yourself and take back your power. So the first step is to realize how much power and energy and resistance you've given your parents by blaming them, resenting them, making them wrong, telling lots and lots of stories about them, and yes, making them wrong like they made you wrong. So of course that can never help, right? And then when you've done that, to really be honest with yourself how much you are blaming and resenting them, stop doing that and come back to yourself, into your own heart. So you're deciding to let go of all that, to look outside and make the outside world wrong, and come back to your own heart. And when you go into your own heart, you will connect with your own love. And then you can look at them in a more truthful way. You can see that they have been through a lot, much more than you have probably, and that they had an even harsher upbringing, an even more unloving upbringing. And of course they were not able to give you love. And how could they be loving and understanding towards you when they never got that themselves? They had no idea that that's what they needed to do. So they did to you what their parents did to them, basically. They didn't even have the tools of self-empowerment, probably, depending how old you are. And they never learned how to change their mindset, and that they can actually do this differently. So we were usually the generation, again, depending when you were born, to show them what to do in those ways, how to be different, So the last step is to actually send them compassion and send them all your love, because they probably need your love more than you needed theirs. Because you already came into the world with more love and light in your remembering that that's what you are, than they did. And I'm going to talk about this in a minute. So send your love and your compassion to them, and really seal up this whole resistance and negativity towards them. And instead, just allow them to be. Smile whenever they come up with these lines that they tell you. See through it. Don't let yourself be affected by it. And know that there's nothing wrong with you. That you don't have to change. And all you need to do is accept yourself as you are. They do not need to do that. Only you back yourself with your own love, and you absolutely love yourself unconditionally from now on. You have the power to shift that scenario completely around, so that now you are the source of your own love and nobody else and on the outside anymore. And there's one other thing I'd like you to know, which not a lot of people know on this planet, is that we actually choose our parents. We also choose the situations we are born in. Because before we come to this planet, when we are still in soul form, we know that we can handle this. It's only so harsh and amazingly difficult and horrendous for our human self, that we maybe choose to be born into. But on a soul level, we are mighty powerful, and we know that we can get through it. And this is what that's why we actually choose these difficult situations, because we want to learn to love ourselves even though we had gone through that. We want to find a way back to our own love and our powerful light. And as a soul, we kind of take it as a game, as a way of experiencing this, and then coming out of it. So the ultimate takeaway always is to not take it personally, to not make it mean something about us, and to make ourselves wrong. Everything that happens for us is really there to learn something, so we can have the experience. But it's never against us or, to punish us or anything like that. It is always to actually gain another experience where we can learn to love ourselves despite the situation we were in. And if we can remember that every time we are in an unloving situation where somebody is maybe not fair or not nice or unkind to us, and if we can remember that this is nothing to do with us, it's not personal what's happening here, it is just a chance or a little test to show whether we are loving ourselves enough. This is what it is all about. We want to learn to love ourselves despite whatever is happening, and that's what we come back here for, to learn that, and also to bring our light and our love to this planet in order to rise up and to actually ascend in a bigger form, as a humanity, as a global society. Because the more light we are able to bring, and the more empowerment we can bring to ourselves, the more we are also empowering the whole of society. Okay, don't forget to give me a like and to subscribe to the channel to get more insights and empowering tips on how to learn to love yourself more.